Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jerred Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Coree Rountree. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm excited to chat with you. You have been around Garage Gym Athlete. I don't know. It feels like maybe since the beginning, even.
Yes.
We've worked together one-on-one. It's just been phenomenal working with you over the years. So I'm really excited to dive into this. But I'm going to let you take it away with the intro for anybody who hasn't heard you on the podcast before. So who you are, what you do, how you train, where you're from, all that good stuff. I'm sure I don't even know half the answer to these questions anymore.
Well, I am Coree. I have two adult children, one in the Navy and one is a tree line clearing guy for a big utility company. So pretty proud of those two. I've been a personal trainer since 2014, but with COVID, I kind of took a break from that. So packed up and moved to Oregon from California and just been chilling out here in Oregon. I train in my garage now. I used to train in a gym, but now I actually have a garage gym set up. So that's awesome. I had all the equipment before COVID came, but it was in storage. So we hijacked it out of storage and took over the garage with that happening. So it's been really nice. I love it. Way better than the gym.
Yeah.
So just work out, still doing GGA, and I'm on the strength track right now. So
nice.
Been on that for a while. Yeah.
Shout out to Joe. So what's the equipment situation like in this new garage gym?
Well, I have I don't know how to turn this around. Can you even? I'm terrible at this thing. I don't know how to turn my camera around. I won't try. But I have a squat rack, a couple of benches. My boyfriend built me a box. I've got a kettlebell, med ball, bunch of bands, wall ball, all the basics, jump rope. So yeah, get it done out here.
You got everything you need.
We need more plates.
Hey, you're breaking rule number one there.
I know. Not me, my boyfriend. He breaks the rules.
Got it. Well, so what was the big reason behind going from a gym to starting the garage gym? Was it mainly the pandemic, or what was the reason behind it?
I actually took advantage of a Black Friday sale through Titan Fitness about 2.5 years ago, and bought all the equipment, but I just had like this little tiny storage space that I set it all up in and could barely move around. So it wasn't super functional. I watched your little storage video and that you had done years ago and tried to do the same thing, but it was pretty cramped in there. So I kept my gym membership. And then when I moved up to Oregon, everything went into storage and COVID sprung it out. So
nice.
That really started the garage gym journey.
Yeah, that's really cool. And how are you liking Oregon?
I like it. It's a little wet.
Yeah.
It takes some adjusting too, but we have some beautiful weather right now. So I've been doing a lot of running and but yeah, it's pretty wet here.
Yeah, that's I have a aunt and uncle who live up there. I don't know, maybe it's not very often I get up there, to be honest, but wet is, from the times I have been up there, I would agree with.
Yeah. we get about 2 months of like 100 degrees and then it's back to rain.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so what are some of your goals right now?
Well, my biggest goal now has just been to maintain fitness. I had, since the last time we talked, I was preparing for a big race in Scotland. And in my training, I completely tore 2 of 3 lateral ligaments in my ankle and so completely torn, and then one was partially torn. So I had about a year of trying to fix it myself, and finally had surgery, and then needed another surgery, but haven't had it yet. So basically just trying to keep my fitness while going through all of that. So that's my goal, is to just keep maintaining my health and my fitness and working around the injury.
Yeah, that's at least you're still training. You know, some people will just drop it off the map when that kind of stuff happens. What kind of modifications are you having to make?
Surprisingly none right now. So I'm debating about even having the second surgery until it really starts to bother me. But I had probably a year and a half where I couldn't do any running or deep squatting. Still can't push off really well from that foot. So jumping is a little restricted, but I just kept pushing through, and it gets better and better all the time. So back to running a lot, and I can almost do that plate jump thing that you have us do during Fit Week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got a lot of complaints when I started programming that one.
Yeah. First time I did it, I thought I was going to kill myself.
No, yeah, I think it takes a lot of explosiveness to get to, but you'd be surprised. Everyone gets there eventually. Your first time, you're like, nah, there's not even a possibility. But you slowly go up and up.
The hardest part is because I can't flatten my foot on the
Yeah.
ground. So like sitting on my feet. So that foot has to be up on the toes. And it's just it's just a weird position to try and jump out of.
Yeah.
So
That would be, especially with any kind of ankle mobility or
yeah.
issue like that. That's gonna be hard. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I normally ask the question, what were you doing before you were a garage gym athlete? But you've been around. I mean, you're a founding member. Like you're here since the beginning, which is awesome. But I'll ask, maybe just how things have morphed for you over the years. You've been through a lot of iterations. You've moved. You've been in garage gyms. You've been injured. You've been in traditional gyms. So I would just love to hear how your training has evolved over the years, maybe 5 years ago to now. Like, do you view things differently? Like, how has your fitness journey been?
Yeah. So I mentioned I started out personal training about 2014. And so obviously spent a lot of time in the gym during that time. And back then there was a lot of ego involved. So, as a personal trainer, you're kind of trying to be like somebody that some people want to look up to and, value your expertise, so to speak. And so tons of ego involved there. And I got hurt a lot because of the ego. So I was always having a shoulder injury or back injury or my ankle or whatever. And the ankle injury really took me back a step. Like I was doing really well in Spartan. You guys had me sponsored, like placing fairly high in races. And, just sometimes God comes down and checks your ego a little. So,
Right.
So since then, it's really come into a realization that it's not just about, how far you can go. It's more about like, how long can I do this? So that's been my big evolution here. And I still have to check my ego all the time because, it's just part of the evolution, I guess. We don't change overnight, but I keep trying, keep chugging along.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wanting to do fitness when you're 70, 80, like that should be the goal, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
if we make too many sacrifices earlier in life, we might not be able to do those things. So I think that is a very hard goal to, especially if you're having to let go of some performance metrics that you previously could attain. Like, I think that's a really difficult thing, but ultimately really smart, right? Like that's what's going to keep us in
Yeah.
the game for longer.
Yeah. It's still hard to like look back at some of my squat and deadlift numbers and know that like I may never hit those again, because not only am I not in my 30s anymore, I, have an injury that kind of keeps me from uh, doing what I would think I could have done, So
Yeah, but you're still in the game. That's the biggest part.
I am. That is. And I get out here 4 to 5 days a week. So just keep going.
Well, how do you like training in your garage compared to all the other places you've trained, gym wise?
I love it. The hardest part for me was I had a steady group of girls that I worked out with. And that went away even before I moved to Oregon. I moved from Auburn, my hometown, to Tahoe. And so I kind of lost my gym partners, and I struggled a little bit through that, working out by myself. And I was in a gym and all that. And then I don't know, just somewhere along the line, I got used to working out by myself. And now I prefer it. Like, I just want to be out here in the quiet and push myself through the workout. And it's kind of my, you were talking about in a podcast this week, like it's good for your mental health. That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm having the opposite adjustment because I've been training alone for so long, and now my brother's coming over to work out with me every day, and I'm like, I'm not used to having someone here.
Yeah, it's hard. I have sometimes when I go down to visit to California, I'll go to my friend's house who has a gym, and I'm like, you just stay upstairs. I'm gonna work out without you.
I'll be done in a minute.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's get to some of these other questions, and maybe things have changed over the years, but what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
I've been thinking a lot about that one, and I think I can't really think of a specific workout. I think the hardest workout for me to do is from a mindset perspective of, after my injury, it took me a long time to enjoy working out again, because you are so restricted. And so the hardest workouts for me were for getting my butt out there and actually doing it. And then, eventually that went away. But even I did a race a couple of years ago, and well, it was last year, I think, before COVID. So 2 years ago. And just forcing myself onto the race course, knowing that like it wasn't going to be the same. So just, I don't know that, I don't know what words to put to it, but you know what I mean? Just like making yourself do workouts that you could have done better before and now you can't.
Yeah, just knowing that performance is not the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm beyond that now. Now I just get out here and crush it because I know I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Just what I was talking about is like forcing yourself to do the things that you maybe can't do as well you used to, but you're still capable of getting out there and doing it. So, as we get older and more mature, you kind of recognize those things. But as a youth, like I tell my kids all the time, don't bust yourself up, because eventually that's going to go away. So just do it because you love it, not because you're going to be the best at it or you're trying to be the best at it or whatever.
That's some awesome advice. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Okay, so I do remember this one. Last time I said pull-up bar, and I am so changing that to a barbell.
Awesome.
Yeah, when I couldn't do a lot of stuff and then getting back into the barbell, it was like being home. So I never want to give that up again.
That's great. How long were you without the barbell?
Between the injury and COVID, it was close to 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long
Yeah,
break.
it was. It
I
was
was coming
hard.
back to the barbell after a 2-year break.
It was an ego check for sure. I was like, what? I can't squat, close to my max anymore. Oh my gosh, I've lost so much strength. And yeah, so that was a definitely, but it just inspired me to like, okay, I'm going to get as close as I can to what I used to and be happy with that.
Yeah. And now you're operating within, like, you know where you could go, potentially. So
Yeah.
you
Well, and
can,
I get stronger and stronger. So, who knows? Maybe I will get back to those numbers someday.
I think that you will. I have faith.
Yeah.
Joe normally asks this question, but he couldn't be with us today. So if the Magic Garage Gym genie could come give you any piece of equipment that you don't currently have in your garage, what would it be?
It's a toss up for me. So I've been using your trick of asking everyone to give me Rogue gift certificates. And so I am close to buying the it's not the donkey, but it's the GHD, the Louis Simmons GHD.
Yeah.
So that was on my list, but I'm like $50 away from it. So the next thing on the list is probably a rower. I still haven't won a rower from you, darn it.
One of these days, we got to do some more big giveaways.
I finally got my barbell.
Yeah, and that was a long process in and of itself, but I'm glad that you got it. That's awesome.
Yep, now I have two, so we're happy.
That's great. Well, let's see what your best advice is. So a lot of garage gym athletes out there, a lot of experience under your belt. What is your best advice for all the garage gym athletes out there?
Keep doing it. Even if it gets hard, just keep going. Life is hard and you got to keep moving forward.
Awesome. Coree, well, it's been a blast having you on, getting you back to the podcast and just hearing, what you've been up to. I appreciate it, and definitely want to do it again. Want to have you on the podcast again down the road. And yeah, thanks for being a longtime athlete.
Yeah, thanks for doing what you do.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.